Okay, so thank you so much, Yolanda, for being on my podcast. I'm so excited to interview you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so first question, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Yolanda Cordova, and I am from the big city, Los Angeles, California. I grew up in East LA.
Oh, nice, nice. And so I'm going to take you way back. Can you tell us basically from the beginning of when you started thinking about buying your first home? Can you tell us what that was like?
Ooh, that was a long time ago. I bought my first house in 2003, the end of 2003. And what made me buy a house was the fact that I had joined real estate January of 2003. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be in real estate, I need to own my own home. So at the time, my husband and I, we were newlyweds. We had gotten highly in debt with the wedding and trying to make the business work. I was a teacher from January to August, and then I resigned in August. So we literally had blind faith. We were young, no kids, and a lot of faith in ourselves that we decided to quit our stable jobs. Jerry quit his stable job in January because I told him I don't want you to be 40 and look back and think I should or could have. I have stable income because I had income, coming in. Do what you want to do. So real estate it was, because his mom is in real estate as well. So she motivated him to get a license. So technically he was self-employed. I was the one with a job and decided to quit in August. So come December, we thought, well, come August, we thought we're young, we're in real estate, but how can we even sell or teach people about real estate if we don't even own our own home? So, but at the time, there was a lot of creative financing. We could have qualified for our first home loan by ourselves, but our credit sucked because we were highly in debt and our FICO scores were low. They were like in the 610 for him, and I had like a 580 FICO score. So it was really bad. We wanted to get better interest rate because with our FICO score, the interest rate would have been about closer to 8. So don't complain for those that are getting a 3.25%. Boo woo. So what we did is I asked my brother to co-sign for me. And I'm the type of person that I don't like to ask for favors. Because when you ask for a favor, sometimes they'll ask for the favor back and more. So I paid him to co-sign for my first home because I didn't want him to throw it in my face in the future, because sometimes family members do that. So in my first home, he was the one that helped me sign for the loan so that I can have the financial, so that I could show the bank that I had credit and a financial ability to pay the loan. And guess what? Our interest rate was like a 6.5%.
Wow.
With his credit versus with our credit, it would have been about 2 points higher. So it made a difference. And that's how we got started with our first home.
Awesome. And what were like limiting beliefs, or like, did you have anxiety when you were going through this process? Obviously you had to ask your brother to sign for you, but did you have like any limiting beliefs, like, oh, maybe I can't do this, or maybe I can't own a home?
I was actually the second person in my house to buy a home. So the moment I got into real estate, the next month, my brother finally bought a home. So he was the first one to actually own a home. And I pushed him to buy it because he had great income, but he just had the fear of, could I do it? Or, could I not do it? So I motivated him to buy his very first home a month after I got into real estate. And he's owned those 2 units in LA for what? I've been in 19 years. Yeah. So his units now are worth about 700, and at the time he bought them, I think it was for like 300. So they're worth 2 times more.
Mhm.
I don't think I had, limiting beliefs, because I'm the type of person that you just gotta get it done.
Mhm.
If you think about it too much, you're never gonna do anything.
Right.
So I was having success in real estate already. So I knew that I could make a mortgage payment. So
Mhm.
I thought, well, the worst thing that, could happen is if I can't afford it based on a business income, because I was new in the business, then I'll
Mhm.
just go back into teaching. So that was my backup plan that, thank God, I never had to go back to, but that was my backup just in case. But I'm the type of, person that says just have blind faith. If you have the income, then why not? You're
Mhm.
gonna spend the money either in things that are not gonna give you any money. Might as well just spend it on something that will appreciate over time.
For sure.
So
Yeah. So your net worth went up as soon as you bought that house, right?
absolutely, I bought another one the year after that. 3 months after that, I bought an upgrade to that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
So I just did it. You just have
Yeah.
to do it and have, blind faith that everything will work out. And I'd say about 80 to 90% of the times it works out.
Right.
Everything
Right. Yeah.
aligns.
And when you bought your first home, what were you guys looking in the home? Did you guys have like any did you want a pool? Did you want like what was your main criteria to buy your home?
I wanted the house to be nearby the office. I've never been one to have to drive. I didn't want to drive 20, 30 miles to get to work. So I had done that before. And I would always, travel even for school. I would, travel 30 to 45 minutes to get to school. So I didn't want to go through all of that. I wanted to have a home that was as close as can be to the office. So our first home was literally 2 miles from our office.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was my main criteria. Now, when it comes to the house, even though I was in real estate, I wasn't that picky per se. We didn't have any kids, so the size didn't really matter. I have to admit, when I was seeing the homes, we saw a house that was, wow, completely remodeled. It had all the bells and whistles, but it just didn't feel like home. It was beautiful, but it didn't feel like home. And I saw my very first home, it did not have all the bells and whistles. The kitchen was outdated. The electricity, to give you an idea, if the microwave was on in the kitchen and I was blow drying my hair, I have curly hair, literally the fuse would go out.
Oh my God.
Should have chosen the other one. No, but we chose this house, our very first home, because it felt like home. The kitchen was outdated. The bathroom was okay. That was okay. But I think our main selling point with this house was that it had a family room, and the family room was really closely attached to the kitchen. And the backyard was very nice as well. So I think that those were our main selling points, and that it felt like home. It wasn't updated in any way. It just felt like home. Very cozy.
Nice. Yeah. So now you went through the whole transaction of buying your home. When you step into your home for the very first time, how do you feel? What do you feel?
Oh my God, you feel like the king of the world, the queen of the world. We felt like, man, we did it. We're here. It felt really good because as a homeowner, you're able to have so much freedom. My dad, growing up, even though he earned really well at the time, back in the 90s, my dad was an out-of-state truck driver. His income taxes were like over 90 grand. But he was so bad with managing money that we never owned a home. So I always lived in before unit apartment, but we always rented.
Mhm.
So when I stepped into my house, for me, it was like, wow, we have privacy. We can paint it the way we want to, decorate it the way we want to, without having the landlord or the property manager nagging us not to paint, the wall a certain color. So for us, it was freedom, and it was, I guess, a form of, liberation that,
Mhm.
we were able to do it.
Right. Yeah. And you say that a year later, you bought a brand new home. So with the first home, did you end up selling that, or did you keep that as an investment property?
We kept it as an investment, and then I sold it to my sister.
Okay.
So I helped her out, and I kept the loan under my name to help
nice.
her out. So
Yeah. So when you kept it as an investment, did you rented it out to tenants, obviously, right?
I rented it out to my sister, and then
Oh, to your sister. Oh,
then
nice.
she ended
Nice.
up buying it from me.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah. So, have you thought about investing in units or multifamily housing, like
Absolutely.
duplex,
That's the name
triplex?
of the game.
Yes.
Yes, it's not about owning one home. It's about owning multiple homes, because
Mhm.
ultimately these homes are going to pay for your lifestyle.
Right.
So I could say that Jerry and I, lead a somewhat conservative life, in the aspect that we're not very flaunty, because we believe in having investment, it
Right.
doesn't, it's not what you show,
Mhm.
it's what your bank account says.
Exactly. Yeah.
What, your asset statements say. So a lot of people focus on, having a Louis Vuitton. I mean, I can think of a client that she's not a client, but a friend that I know. She has about a lot of, purses, and nothing against, purses. That is her mojo. But they could definitely afford a really nice home. And she says, I'd rather stay, renting, because I don't want to let go of my Louis every year.
Right.
So, she could have bought 15 years ago and have a ton of equity and buy a Louis every single year, but she just chose to remain as a tenant. So not that luxuries are bad, but there's a time and there's a place for you to have that. At the
Yeah, I mean,
beginning, you have to focus on building wealth.
Right. And everybody's at different stages in their life. Whenever you're ready to buy a house. Next question. What advice would you give someone who has not bought a home and maybe has some limiting beliefs on if they can afford to buy a house?
I mean, first off, the bank is not going to give you a loan that you cannot afford. So you have to show that you have the financial ability to repay that mortgage. So just there alone, you should have peace of mind that if the bank grants you a home loan, it's because you demonstrate on paper, not what you say verbally, like in the early 2000s. You demonstrate on paper through your income taxes, through your pay stubs, that you can afford that mortgage payment. So if the bank gives you the blessing to buy that home, you can buy that home and believe it. And now it's just a matter of you seeing if you're worthy,
right?
If you're willing to do whatever it takes emotionally. Now that's internal. That we cannot change.
Yeah, exactly.
The financial ability, if you have it, you have it. But like my friend, she has a financial ability. Her emotions are not there. She's not ready emotionally to buy the home. So with anyone that is buying, you have to really take a step back and say, okay, if the bank tells me yes, that means that I can afford a home. I can make the payment to the home. Now the question here is, am I willing to cut back on my daily Starbucks? Or what do I have to do to earn more so that I can keep the lifestyle that I have? But take the leap of faith and just buy the house and either cut back on that Starbucks or find a business venture that will allow for you to pay for that additional Starbucks and still own a home.
Right, exactly. And let's end it with this. What legacy would you like people to remember you by?
What legacy? I think I would like people to remind themselves of me as a person that cared for them and that told them the truth the way it was.
Awesome. Yeah. So everyone, Yolanda is actually a lender. If you want to tell us a little bit about your background, how long you've been a lender for, so that way people know you're talking about like financial, so people know that you're actually an expert in this field.
Yes, we do mortgages. We've been doing mortgages with my husband for the past 18, going on 19 years. God, it feels like we're almost getting closer to that 20. Uh, close to 20 years now.
Right. You're an
And
expert. That's good. You're an expert.
we really enjoy the educational part. It's not about a payment. It's not about a rate. It's about, okay, seeing where you're at and advising you, seeing what's the best route for you to take so that you can finance this house. And there isn't one way. There are multiple ways. So it's educating you, enlightening you so that you know exactly what the down payment is, what are closing costs, and educating you through the process so that you feel empowered, educated, and you feel like you know what you're doing, and you should.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you so much, Yolanda, for being on my podcast. I'm super excited and I was so blessed to have you here. So with that being said, this is the first podcast of my channel. So thank you, Yolanda, so much. And do you want to give any ending thoughts or anything else? Would you like to add anything else to the conversation?
Yes, if you've been thinking about buying a home and you have this limiting, belief, or anyone is telling you that you cannot, if the bank tells you that you can afford that home after they have reviewed your income taxes and the pay stubs, believe it. And have that blind faith that everything will work out. And I have to tell you this, 99% of the times it does. So go out
Awesome.
and make it happen. Buy a home.
Yes. And with that being said, this was my first podcast with Joanna Corona. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joanna.